I guess there's a lot of things in the world today that are happening that are important and that deserve our attention. But I think it's always important to say what is going to be what's important in the long term. What are the actions that, if we don't take them today, will result in quite a terrible future? And I think today's refugee problem or challenge is perhaps a small indication of what the future will be like if we do not take action with respect to climate change. So, I mean, today the challenge is in terms of millions of people, but in the future, based on what the scientific consensus is, the problem will be in hundreds of millions and much more severe. So I think it's very important that we take action today to recognize that we are making a very significant change to the chemical constituency of the atmosphere and the oceans, and one that is almost impossible to reverse. I think when we look back on these days in the future, we want to be able to say that we did the actions that were right, the actions that were important, because I think it's very difficult to say, if you go, say, 20, 30, 40 years in the future, what do you say to your kids or your grandkids? It's not as though, like it's like the scientists all say that these bad things are going to happen. It's like 97%. So say, well, to your grandkids or kids, well, did nobody tell you? No, it's like, no, everyone was telling us. Okay, so why didn't you do anything? What's the answer?
I mean, I think currently what we're doing right now, which is mining and burning trillions of tons of hydrocarbons that used to be buried very deep underground, and now we're sticking them in the atmosphere and running this crazy chemical experiment on the atmosphere. And then you've got the oil and gas companies, which have ungodly amounts of money. And you can't expect them to just roll over and die. They don't do that. Actually, what they much prefer to do is spend enormous amounts of money lobbying and running bogus ad campaigns and that kind of thing to preserve their situation. It's a lot like tobacco companies in the old days. I mean, they used to run these ads with doctors, a guy with a doctor, pretending he's a doctor, essentially implying that smoking is good for you, right. And having pregnant mothers on ads smoking. I believe in the scientific method, and one should have a healthy skepticism of things in general. And if you approach things from a scientific standpoint, you always look at things probabilistically, not definitively. And so I think a lot of times, if somebody's a skeptic in the science community, what they're really saying is that they're not sure that it's 100% certain that this is the case. But that's not the point. The point is is to look at it from the other side. So what do you think the percentage chance is of this being catastrophic for some meaningful percentage of the Earth's population? Is it greater than 1%? Is it even 1%? If it is even 1%, why are we running this experiment? Playing Russian roulette, and as each year goes by, we're loading more rounds in the chamber. It's not wise.